Why do you think your popularity is so great in Denmark? It's amazing.
The Danish people have terrific taste. My career has been mixed up with all sorts of people that I like to work with. You know, I don't think there can't be many people who did everything by themselves. You know, when I started, I was by myself. I had a couple of friends from school, and even when I started, one of these friends wrote Move It. I had to have a good song, but I did it, I recorded it, and I made it a hit. But I needed his help. Then I formed the band called The Shadows, The Drifters, and then The Shadows. And I needed their help. Then they broke up, and I did things on my own with Norrie Paramore. I needed his help too. Then I worked with people like John Farrar and Bruce Welch and Hank Marvin when they were producers. Terry Britton, who wrote Devil Woman and a few other really good songs for me, and then Alan Tarney. So Alan has played a part, along with the others, in giving me material that I can present to my public. Because we all give each other something. I mean, what I feel I can offer is that I sing quite good. I don't sing out of tune, and I can sing with feeling. And they don't have a public. So they give their song to me, and their wonderful song I share with my public. So we're all giving to each other all the time. I never have an ego thinking, hey, you know, I'm the one. And because I need everybody. I do a show now. I get the glory, but my band is fantastic. Every single one of them.
Don't you never get kind of tired of the song, do the same show for that many times?
It's not the same all the time. And you know, the other thing is, even if it was the same for a whole year, if I was going to a factory or an office, I would do the same thing every day from 9 until 5. It's no different to anybody else. Why should we think, hey, you know, I'm so bored singing Living Doll again, you know? Some people have to write the same letters, dear sir, dear madam, every day. It's no different, you know? It's just that we have to be committed and dedicated, and if we are, then what we do becomes important, and it doesn't matter how many times I sing Living Doll, I'll still force myself to get something from it. Yes, there are songs I prefer to sing. I prefer to sing Marmaduke. I prefer to sing some of the new material, but I still think it's important to sing Living Doll.
In the 60s, you made 4 films. You haven't made films since. How come you haven't started a film?
You know, after I made those films, I got so many more scripts, and they were all something like that. Well, I'm a grown-up man now, you know. I can't ride around on buses and be in youth clubs anymore. So somebody has to find another vehicle. In fact, when I did Time in the West End show, that was a really perfect vehicle for me. I didn't have to pretend to be an 18-year-old. I had to pretend to be a 35-year-old, but then I don't find that too difficult. And but I was singing my rock and roll for today, and I was acting with some very fine performers on stage. Now, a producer in London took me seriously, and I was able to prove myself, and we were a very big success for a whole year.
The sound of records today are very much influenced by new techniques. Do you feel the techniques is having too much an influence on the music?
No.
You like that?
Oh, I love it, because it's like nothing can stay where it was. Nothing. Everything has to move on. If a technique comes in for a recording and you don't use it, you're crazy. Nothing stops you from doing what you used to do. In the same way we've talked about singing new material and old material, I can still sing We Don't Talk Anymore and Some People and Living Doll. You don't say, this is a new kind of song. Living Doll, throw it out. You don't do that. It's not like life anyway. You know, in life you collect things that are old and dear to you, but you also live with new things. So all that's happened in the technical advancement is that it's permitted us to move wider and wider and wider and wider. We can do things on records now that we could never do. I can sound like a choir. I mean, even now on stage I can have 2 voices coming through the speakers because of the technical advancement. That's not bad, because I only use it once or twice. The rest of the time it's one voice. It's pure and it's real, and that's it. So I like the technical advancement. I think what's happened is it's allowed rock and roll to become an art form. We can now paint with light and sound.
Cliff Richard concerts are famous for having almost special happenings, almost like rituals, with fans coming up to you at the stage during the numbers with flowers. How do you feel about that?
When I'm doing the songs, I try to stop being Cliff Richard. I try to be every man playing a part, whether I be in love or whether I'm fighting against war or whether I'm saying that Jesus is coming back. And sometimes fans come at the wrong moment, you know, so I have to ignore them. And I don't like the feeling very much. It's easy, you know, if the song is finished and the lights come up and everyone's going, yeah, yeah, come on, we're all shouting on stage and laughing, and people come up and you say, yeah, thank you, and you take the flowers and you take the present, and you can say thank you, that's good. Sometimes the fans choose just the wrong moment, and I feel as though I'm being rude to them because I have to ignore them. Otherwise I have to break my character completely. You know, I'm thinking of songs like All By Myself, where I'm singing about a man who is left alone because he's never really found real love. And to sing that and then to break it and say, oh, thank you, it's just not possible. So sometimes, not often, but sometimes people have come with flowers and I've had to pretend they do not exist. And in my heart I'm thinking, oh, I feel sorry for her, you know, because she's standing in front of all these people and I'm totally ignoring her. But, well, I mean, I hope someone, if they're watching and someone did that, they'll understand what I was doing.
Why do you talk about Jesus on stage?
Well, if you're going to give any messages, you might as well give the biggest message that the world is ever going to hear. So I do that. I mean, they're never going to hear a more important message. They're never going to hear a more profound message from anything. What can you talk about? If you talk about politics or war, it's never going to be as great as telling people that Jesus is going to come back. They don't have to believe me, but that's the best message I have. So I always try and find something that will allow me to speak about what I believe. If I couldn't find a good song, though, I wouldn't do it. I mean, if I didn't have a really good set of songs to sing, I wouldn't simply say it, because it's a concert, and I want to communicate via my words and via the music as well.
How would you like to be remembered in the future?
Somebody wrote a review of one of my gospel shows once, and I still remember the quote because it's my favorite quote. It's how I'd like to be remembered. The man said that God and rock and roll can go together very happily in the hands of a man who loves them both. And that's how I'd like to be remembered.